When I draw, I want to be free, especially when I doodle, to just let the pencil or the charcoal dance around the page, and sometimes I like to see just what might emerge. And so I might have somewhat of an idea, like a three-quarter profile. Remember the three-quarter profile? Rule of 9, nose, mouth, eye, right? So I'm kind of suggesting that right now, but I'm letting my pen, my charcoal, dance around and just have some fun until I get an idea, and then I might say, oh, I kind of like this. I'm going to commit to this lip structure here. And I'm going to commit to this nose. I kind of like the way the nose came out, even though it's a little exaggerated. And the eyes look kind of interesting. Who knows what this guy's going to turn out to be? This might be a complete failure of a drawing, and I'll move on to something else. But when I'm doodling, I give myself the freedom to allow myself to make mistakes that are just ridiculous. And because it might turn into something I might add to my little repertoire of drawings and put in my drawer and say, I'm like, that's a keeper, or that's not a keeper, okay? So that's how I explore with charcoal. I love it. I twist it. I'll twist it in my fingers. I'll twist it and let it dance around the page, and until I feel as though I might have something that is interesting. I think I have a lip structure here, and I'll put a chin underneath it, and here I'll put an eye, and here I'll put an eye. There was an artist in the Renaissance called Pontormo. Pontormo, and Pontormo was a very odd guy, and his figures looked really strange. You can Google Pontormo and see for yourself. But what was beautiful about Pontormo's works is he had an enigmatic, kind of sublime quality to his figures because he experimented with really crazy organic squiggly lines to see if he can come out and invent new kinds of people. He was trying to invent a drawing of a person from just the act of drawing itself. Not just looking at a model and trying to draw nature as he sees it, but try to come up with an idea of the design within. The disegno interno, the design within, the kind of the idea of a person, the idea of a thing, okay, that could emerge from the act of making it, just like nature creates. So, Pontormo would use these spirals, and his charcoal would dance around the page, and his lips looked like crazy, weird lips, but they came out kind of beautiful. And so his charcoal would dance around, barely touching the page sometimes. That you have to understand. A lot of artists, a lot of the drawings didn't hit the page. Their motions were above the paper, okay? They were moving around, dancing around, trying to figure out what might be beautiful, and then they'd commit. And then boom, they'd commit. They'd commit to a line that they thought had something, right? And they'd come in and start committing to a form that they found sympathetic, that had some kind of personality, that resonated emotionally, that was evocative of some kind of a feeling or time or story, right? And that's how a lot of artists work. They work in gentle, free, doodly strokes, and they let the pencil or the charcoal kind of dictate a little bit and let something emerge from the smoke of art, the fog, the mist, until they feel as though they have an idea from that mist. They see it. They see in that mist an idea they want to maybe commit to. I know that sounds kind of touchy-feely, but especially when you might feel like you're out of ideas, let the randomness of the materials draw you in to maybe something new. Doodling is free time. It's leisure time. It's relaxation time. And in that freedom, you're letting yourself see maybe new things. Okay, and one of my favorite things to do is what I call draw angels. I like to draw angels, and what that means is I like to draw ideals, people that don't have necessarily earthly ties to me, but have forms that I find, you know, kind of maybe supernatural, that are kind of coming out of the ether. And so I'll let myself just play around. It's like daydreaming with charcoal in your hand. And I just let my charcoal just play. I'm not really drawing anything, but something's coming out of this. And the minute I feel like I've got something that I want to commit to, I'll come in with more specific lines. I can't tell you how much fun it is to do this, and they don't always come out right, but some of my better ideas I've come up with doing this, because the charcoal will make these beautiful hyperbolic parabolas, these beautiful three-dimensional forms for you. So a lot of things have been, a lot of the forms have already been figured out by the motion of your hand and the drawing. So as you can see, I've got maybe like a Christ-like figure, or an apostle, or maybe an angel, who knows. But I kind of like his eyes. And it's a form that I can work with. It's a form I like. So, and you can see this is very gentle stuff, this willow. These little willow wisps are just wonderful to draw with, and you get the idea. I can commit more and more and more and get down to something. And then, of course, I could transfer this to another piece of paper and redraw it with a different medium. So again, this is an inventive approach. It's a very dynamic, inventive approach to art. It's not necessarily the final image that you might put down in a gallery and say, look at my art. This might be a way of just generating ideas really quickly, because again, you are not spending a lot of time on this, but you are spending time maybe wisely, because you're coming up with just ideas, okay? And it's a source that comes out of motion and pressure and the paper meeting the charcoal, and you don't necessarily know where it's coming from, but it's a way of kind of being inspired, especially if you're having a dry time where you don't know really what you want this thing to look like. So you'll just play around and see if, ooh, I think I got something. It's like fishing. It's like you're fishing for beauty. You're fishing for ideas. You're fishing for art. You're fishing for inspiration. And sometimes just in making those marks, you might just come up with something you can live with. And say, yeah, this morning wasn't a complete waste of time, because I came up with a few ideas for maybe an illustration of a story, or maybe I invented a character, like a little boy, and he's kind of sad, but he's a dreamer, and he's thinking about places his father used to tell him about, and his dad's away driving his truck, and he's just in his own world right now. So you could narrate a character while you're drawing them, right? So once again, that's charcoal, and the beauty of it is you're creating in smoke. Okay? This is Mike from luxblocks.com, and I'll see you next time. Adios, muchachos.